Hi, everybody. Welcome to Business First Wednesday. I'm Jennifer Burns. I'm the head of the Business Insight Center here at the Central Library in Rochester and Monroe County. We offer free and confidential market research services, as well as intellectual property services, such as prior art searches for patents and trademarks. We are by appointment only, so please get in touch with us before you just show up. So we have very small staff, but we want to make sure that you get the service you need. Again, that's all free and confidential. I'm going to turn it over to Jaira Santiago from the Small Business Development Center, and she's going to introduce our amazing speaker. Jaira?
Good morning and welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Jaira Santiago. I'm the Small Business Advisor at Brockport SBDC. We'd like to thank you for joining us for Business First Wednesdays. Every year, March is designated Women's History Month. The month is set aside to honor women's contribution in American history. A special welcome to our guest today, Melissa Mueller-Douglas, LMSW. She specializes in enhancing workplace culture through chocolate mindfulness workshops and the My Retreat app. Welcome, Melissa.
Amazing, Jaira. Thank you. Thank you. I want to say two things before we begin. First, that Jennifer and her team, her department at the library, have been instrumental in helping me with research for my company, My Retreat. So I want to echo what she said about utilizing those free resources. And secondly, I want to share that Jaira is my newest mentor through the SBDC, which I am so excited because I have a specific ask and she has a wealth of resources to help me get to that answer. So again, another incredible resource through the SBDC, and I only recommend resources that I use myself. So I wanted to be sure to share that with you all. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Good morning, everyone. I'm Melissa Mueller-Douglas, LMSW and CEO of My Retreat, Inc. Today, I'm excited. It's time to define the driving force behind your entrepreneurial spirit, because people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. We will identify the heart of your business through an insightful exercise and an engaging discussion, which most likely will take place in the chat, but I'm looking forward to lifting your responses and sharing them. Let's uncover your unique why and watch it propel you towards success. Today, we're going to explore why your organization exists. And if you are at the beginning stages where you're looking to start a company, or you're farther down the road and you've been in business for a number of years, it's important to revisit your why. So I'm glad that you are all here with us today. We'll begin by talking about why purpose matters. We'll move into sharing what you do. So that's where you come in. We definitely want to hear from you what it is that you do. Feel free to place that in the chat so everyone else can hear what it is that you bring to the table with your company or your business idea. And then we're going to define your why. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't offer next steps and what to do to continue moving toward solidifying your purpose and really getting the word out there. So let's talk about purpose. Business success goes beyond profits. It's about creating a lasting impact. Here's why knowing your purpose matters. 1, authentic connection. Aligning your business with a purpose creates a genuine connection with your audience, fostering loyalty and trust. And we all know how important it is for our communities, for our clients to know, like, and trust us. Number 2, employee engagement. A shared purpose motivates and engages your team. Whether your team has a full C-suite or some contracted workers, advisors, entrepreneurs in residence, neighbors, friends, whoever it is that you're turning to for support and engagement and people to share your business's purpose. This is why engagement, or this is how engagement is important when it comes to defining your purpose. And 3, strategic decision-making. So your purpose acts as a guiding force, helping you to make strategic decisions that resonate with your values and long-term goals. Whether long-term for you means for the rest of this year, or if you have a 5-year plan or a 30-year plan, whatever that might be, it's important to focus on your values every moment with every decision that you make so that it's in alignment and so that people know what you're about and why they should be following your lead. So most companies begin by sharing what they do, and then they'll move into talking about how they do it. So I want to pause here and ask each of you to share with us what you do. Go ahead, share it in the chat. I will pull up the chat now. Okay, great. So what do you do?
Don't be shy, guys.
Yes, Christine, you're a business advisor with the SBDC. Fabulous. Allie is a certified yoga therapist. You help HSPs and empaths connect their bodies for the sake of creating ease in their lives. Beautiful. That is what you do. And a bit about how you do it. Dr. Bayer, welcome. Good to see you here. You are selling, it says, I am trying to sell my medication reminder device, MediTeddy. Yes, that is what you do. The day-to-day grind. Peggy says you're the director of a community leadership program. Jaira, business owner and small business advisor. Chloe is a doula. Bridget offers rentals for new and expectant parents. Yes, and a little bit about how you do it. Laura is a playwright, producer, writer, and presents your plays for the stage. Fabulous. I see, ooh, Peggy knows where this comes from. Fantastic. Robert works with small businesses to develop their teams. I see a wonderful person who I connected with last night, Ms. Thompson, chapter specialist for a nonprofit, people connector to professional development resources. And Brian is a small business advisor with the SBDC in Jamestown, New York. Fabulous. So that's what you do. And traditionally, people would then talk about how they do it, right? Some of you jumped right on that and talked about how they did it. Now, although you are all doing phenomenal work, I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that not everyone on this call just looked you up, found your website, booked a call, and now you have a new hot lead. I could be wrong. Please put it in the chat if what we just wrote about what we do and a little bit about how we do it was enough to inspire people to follow us or inspire people to work with us. If that's the case, this is not the chat for you because you're already winning. But I'm going to bring another perspective to the table on how to get people inspired just by sharing your purpose and beginning by sharing your purpose. So we're going to use an example, which was utilized by someone that was mentioned in the chat that we'll get to in just a moment. But the example was with Apple. right? The company that we're all familiar with. If Apple were like everyone else in their marketing, it would sound like this. They'd start with their what and they'd conclude with their how. They'd say, we make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Go out and get one, right? But that's not how it's done, and that's not how they've set themselves apart from the saturated market. So all of this, as was mentioned in the chat, comes from Simon Sinek, who gave the TEDx talk on how great leaders inspire action, which is what I believe many of us aspire to do, right? Is to inspire people and get them to come on board and use our products, experience our services, and of course, share them, right? From the mountaintops, share them with others. So what Simon says, and I fully agree, is that people don't buy what you do, they buy how you do it, but more importantly, why you do it, right? So the key here is to focus on why you do what you do. I'm going to go ahead and share, as the CEO of my retreat, what my retreat does and why we do it. So my retreat fosters great communication and connections within corporate teams through innovative and delightful experiences. Why? Because we believe that employees should feel a sense of belonging. And many people can relate, right? People want to belong to communities, to organizations, to a group, have that sense of shared belonging and camaraderie. So now we're going to move into the shift, right? This mindset shift of getting to a point where we're inspiring those around us with what we're doing and flipping the order of operations. So instead of beginning with what you do and moving into how you do it, and then maybe touching on the why, we're going to begin with why you do what you do, right? Your purpose. So the goal is not to sell to everyone. We hear this a lot. We hear this because we are not supposed to believe it is not the truth, right? That our products or services are for everyone. And if we do believe that they're for everyone, no one will specifically know that it's for them, right? So the goal is to sell to people who believe in what you believe and your why. So here's how Apple actually communicates with their marketing. They say, everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. So let's break that down. The why. Why do they do what they do? Because they believe in challenging the status quo. They believe in thinking differently, which people can relate to. How do they do it? They challenge the status quo by making their products beautifully designed and simple to use. And then what are they here for? What are they doing? They're selling their products. So the next piece, the final piece is go ahead, get yours, right? Jump on board. As business owners, we must be driven by a cause, a purpose. You need to talk about what you believe so you can attract those who believe what you believe. Let's get into a mindset where you can do just that. I'm currently in Washington, D.C., and the cherry blossoms are just starting to bloom. So you'll see how this impacted our mindfulness exercise today. But I'm going to ask you to close your eyes or lower your gaze. Take a deep breath in. Begin at the top of your head, rolling your attention down your forehead to your nose, cheeks, lips, and chin. Recognizing whether your head is experiencing ease. Continue down to your shoulders, allowing them to fall to a comfortable resting place. As you bring your awareness to your elbows, wrists, and fingertips. Swirl your attention around the core of your body, encircling your heart, your lungs, and some of your most vital organs with varying levels of functionality, allowing you to be here today. Recognize whether this mid part of your body is experiencing ease. Continue down to your hips, your knees, your calves and shins and ankles, all the way to the tips of your toes. And notice as you sit or stand, whether this lower part of your body is experiencing contentment. Now, imagine yourself at a threshold of a lush, vibrant garden. This garden represents the essence of your business journey. As you step inside, notice the vibrant colors, the scent of blooming flowers, and the gentle breeze carrying whispers of inspiration. In this garden, there's a unique tree, tall and majestic, representing the core of your business purpose. Take a moment to observe its branches, reaching towards the sky, and its roots firmly grounded in the rich soil. This tree represents the foundation of your why. Now, envision a beam of light shining down on the tree, illuminating every leaf, every branch. This light represents the clarity that comes with understanding your business purpose. As you walk closer to the tree, feel a connection forming between you and its energy. Ask yourself, what is the true essence of my business? Why does it exist beyond profits? Listen for the whispers of your business purpose in the rustling leaves and let the answers flow. Reflect on the impact your business can and does make, the values it stands for, and the positive change it brings to the world. As you absorb these insights, feel a sense of clarity and conviction growing within you. Your why is not just a statement. It's a source of inspiration and motivation that fuels your every business decision. As you slowly bring your awareness back to this present moment, take another breath. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes, carrying with you a new clarity of your business why. And remember that your purpose is that compass that guides you through the journey of your business. You must embrace it, nurture it, and watch as it transforms your path toward meaningful and fulfilling success. Right. So I want to check in with everyone. I see more people shared what they do. And I know that some shared also how they do it. I'd like to hear from everyone who's open to it, what your why is. Why are you doing your business? Why are you getting up in the morning and telling everyone and anyone who will listen the what and the how of your company? What is your why? And as you start putting that into the chat, I'm going to give just a couple examples from companies, many of which that we know or have heard about. And I want to share what their whys are. Okay. So eBay, their purpose is to empower people and create economic opportunity for all. They're not saying to get customers really chic, creative things, right? Which is part of, what they offer, but it's to empower people and create economic opportunity for all. Another one that stood out to me, another purpose, is Expedia Group. Their purpose is to bring the world within reach, right? So they're talking about the ethos, they're talking about their purpose, what it is that they offer, what their why is for why they do what they do. So I'm going to look in the chat and I see 3 people have identified what their why is. Peggy, you shared that you care about where you live and work, and you said we being you and your team, or you and your company. Can you share a little bit more about that, Peggy, if you're comfortable unmuting?
Sure. Can you hear me?
We can.
Sure. It's not my company. It's a program of Cornell Cooperative Extension. It's called Leadership Genesee. Most states and counties across the United States and in many countries have a community leadership program. So I've been directing this for 23 going on 24 years.
Mhm.
And we've been through quite a few strategic plan permutations. But once I started reading and listening to Simon Sinek, we went through a why exercise. And it was very simple. Our purpose is to explore the community and encourage the leader within. But our why is because we care about where we live and work.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes. And who can't relate to that? I'm not sure. Maybe people don't care about where they live. Maybe they don't care about their work, but I haven't connected with people who have shared that with me, right?
Right.
I think they're outliers. So once you put out that purpose and people have it resonate with them, then they move into that next step of, well, how do you do that, right?
Right.
How can I do that? Because I want to do that too. And then that final step of the what of what's next? What do I do? How do I work with you? So please, Peggy, thank you so much for unmuting, sharing. Please put in the chat where people can connect with that organization that you're a part of. If this purpose resonates with them, if they're interested in learning more, because you didn't begin with and this is not accurate information, but this Friday we have an event, right? It's at this time, at this place. You should come, here are your tickets, right? Instead, you began with the purpose, and then you moved into the next steps. Beautiful. Leadership Genesee and your email to be in contact. Thank you, Peggy. Next, we have Bridget. So Bridget is saying that the purpose is for parents, or is because parents, particularly mothers, deserve caring, compassionate support throughout their most vulnerable moments and intense transitions. I'm a mom. that hits home, right? I can feel that. I believe it. We all know a mom who this could support, this purpose, or could be in alignment with them. Bridget, would you be open to unmuting and sharing with us a little bit more about this purpose, or how you got to that purpose, right?
Sure. Hi. I was a birth doula for quite a few years before I started renting out the equipment that I rent out, and just sitting with people in their homes before birth and hearing about their fears, and then walking through the birth process with them, and then reflecting with them after their experience. There's quite a bit of unmet need of having people feel seen, right? And feeling disconnected from really genuine care and authentic care. So I've transitioned out of doula work, and I now only do the rentals, but I think it still, I carry the doula heart with me through the rental piece. And I still get to sit in living rooms with people and help them walk through, or, process their experience. Even if, if it's just a 5-minute thing instead of the whole birth process now.
Yes. So you began by sharing with us a little bit about what you did, right? And how you did it. In the chat, you shared your purpose, right? Of what you were doing now, how you're doing, why you're doing it. What I also heard you say was this internal purpose, or this personal why, of creating a space for people to feel heard, right? That sounds like that's really important to you. And again, the majority of people that I know, I had the pleasure of doing one-on-one and one-to-many therapy sessions for the last 10 years before going full-time on my business for the next few years. But I didn't hear anyone who shared they didn't want to be heard, right? They didn't think that their voice mattered. They didn't think that somebody needed to hear something about what they had to say and about their wisdom, right? Or their lived experience. So thank you for not only putting in the chat your business, your company's why, but also sharing about your personal why, or a piece of that. Beautiful. Again, I ask that you, Bridget, put into the chat for anyone who needs or wants to rent what you offer, right? And feels like it's in alignment with their personal why or their company's why. Please put that into the chat so that they can connect with you as well. Thank you. Thank you. All right, Bill, Dr. Bear, can you share with us a little bit about your why? So your purpose for MediTeddy is to help people live healthier and happier. Again, who doesn't want that? I imagine it resonates with a lot of us. So go ahead and share with us how you got to that purpose.
Well, I practiced 35 years as a family physician, and during that time, I saw many people get sick and even die because they weren't taking their medicines regularly. I also, and I figured out that most of the time they weren't taking their medicines because they didn't really care that much, maybe a little lonely, a little sad. And I did start a diabetes group, and I noticed that people were doing well there, and that really was a companionship of the group that caused them to take their medicine regularly and feel better. So I invented a bear that talks to people and is friendly and motivating, and it also reminds people to take their medicines, and also is friendly and kind of blocks lonely. It helps loneliness. So that's what I did, and we have studied it and found that it has helped people improve their medication adherence, and it has. And we studied in diabetics, and the diabetics improved their blood sugars dramatically once they got the bear to help them remember to take their medicine and motivate them to take their medicine. And the bear's MediTeddy.
That's right. So I want to call on Allie because she put the infamous heart out there, right? Something resonated. Would you be willing to share, either by unmuting yourself or in the chat, what it was about Dr. Bayer's story that made you feel that way?
Yeah, what Dr. Bayer just said about loneliness being something that you saw in this specific patient population, but also I don't want to make a blanket assumption, but I think that most people have experienced loneliness at some point in their lives. And, whether you're dealing with a chronic illness or, you're just living your life, loneliness can be something that has a really big impact on other aspects of your life. Uh, and I can absolutely see how that would impact my life, if I was in a position to do so. So I think that's really awesome that you're doing that.
Well, thank you. Thank you. We've had a lot of encouraging or inspiring results. So it keeps me going. That makes me feel better a lot. A lot of people do see it as a friend and maybe gets them out of their shell a little bit. But only half of all prescribed medicines ever taken. So it's kind of an epidemic. It's a silent epidemic, I call it.
So in the chat also, Bridget shared how sweet it is, right? And that it's a really cool idea what you're bringing to the table with your company. I want to highlight, because this isn't the first time that we've connected, right? At
Right.
least maybe 4 or 5 different in-person times that our paths have crossed at different business events. But this was the first time that I heard you share that story about beginning with a group, right? A small group for support, and then wanting to expand that to reach a larger group of people that are being impacted, because you are one person, right? And you can only hold so many groups in a day, or you only held, right, so many groups. And so having this teddy bear, they're able to impact so many more people, right? And help with the silent epidemic, with the loneliness epidemic. So I hear your purpose. I see it written out here, and I also hear people reflecting back to you what resonates most with them and why they might be interested in sharing this sweet and cool idea. So thank you. Please, of course, put in the chat for anyone who knows someone who might need a Medi Teddy, where they can find it, how they can
I appreciate it.
join in. Yeah.
That we have some pretty interesting testimonials, video testimonials on the website. So I think it's an interesting place to visit in any event.
Indeed. Indeed. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. So next we have Bridget. Let's see. I should probably find. Oh, okay. You are good, Bridget. You did well. Jaira. Okay. I love making women feel beautiful through adorning them with creative pieces, helping people getting started on their business journey. Okay. So those are your why, right? Those are the things that get you up in the start of the day, right? I can say that in our first one-on-one meeting through the SBDC recently, you had a gorgeous necklace, beautiful earrings, and that was the first thing that I saw, right? And you shared that, right? Because you don't only help adorn other people with your jewelry, but you wear it yourself. So can you share with us a little bit about your personal why, how you got to this point of being able to say it succinctly like that?
So it was probably more during the pandemic when I noticed that I thought jewelry was just something that people wear. And I know myself, if I don't have like my earrings on, I don't feel as beautiful. And then in talking to some women, I guess that's when it really sunk in during the pandemic that it is a piece of them, a piece of their everyday, like a clothes, how you would wear. And so I thought that that was so cool that it wasn't just a piece of jewelry anymore to me. It was just something that makes them feel special. And like I said, even myself, without having my earrings on every day, I don't feel quite as beautiful. So it may just be a mental thing, but it's just the little things that we grow. And yeah, so I'm very thankful that I was able to learn that in my why in helping people. So I was able to take that away.
Yes. And what I'm pulling from this is that you said you listened to other people, especially during the pandemic, right? And you were crowdsourcing that information to find out what's most important to them to feel beautiful. And then you came to this conclusion that jewelry is part of what makes that happen, what makes people feel unique or feel like their external beauty is shining. Thank you. Of course, any link that you want to share in the chat, please put that there as well. Shanae, I see to provide people with products and services to deal with grief and plan annual memorial services to honor their loved ones who have passed on. Ooh, I would love to hear from you when you're sharing your purpose. It sounds like this is a mixture of your purpose is within that statement of what you do and how you do it. And I'm curious to hear a little bit about your why. Why is this what you do for your company?
This is a company that is I'm newly starting this year, and the my why is I have a background in event planning, and what I noticed, my mom passed away this month last year, and when I did her repast, I did some things that was personal to me and to my family that had to do with event planning. So I made products like centerpieces and memorial things that people could take home to remember my mom by. And I remembered how much that helped me. So that was my why. If I could, I'm very good at inventing things. So and crafting things. So I decided that I would go on the journey of creating things that help people with grief to remember their family members. Some of the products that I make is like plaques that they can hang little decals on with a message every day to say like I love you, mom, or I miss you. You know, little things just to get your feelings of off of you so you could continue your day. I have like a little version of the traditional candle in a cup, but it's a tube with a LED light inside it and the person's picture, and it's a wristlet. You know, it's a little more upgraded version of what we would use for a memorial service. And then I also at my mom's funeral, I did a dedication table, and it was kind of interactive where people could write things down, and it had flowers on it that people could take away, and uh that I got a lot of feedback from that saying how, you know, the things that they were able to take home as a momentum of her was very helpful to them during their grieving process. So I said is a great idea to put that into a business and offer those services and those products to people that really don't have anybody to talk to. But if you can write it down on a plaque that says "Rest in Paradise, Mom" with her picture on it and little tassels to hang up, and you can write a note every day to get that feeling off of you. I think that would be helpful with someone that's going home alone and but grieving their mom. So
Rest
that
in
was my why.
paradise. Ooh, that's a powerful statement. Okay. Thank you for sharing. And I can say from my vantage point, I hadn't heard of annual services, right? But planning an annual service keeps your mom's memory alive, other people's relatives, friends' memories alive, and gives them an outlet for a way to connect with it. It sounds like a tangible item that they can continue for the remainder of the year until the next time that maybe they get together and have an event in memoriam. So that is that sounds like you are well on your way to curating a succinct why that other people can repeat and share with their friends, their family. So that's beautiful, and thank you so much for sharing with us what you do and why you do it. Would
Thank
you
you.
also be willing to put in the chat how people can connect with you or learn about your services and products?
Well, everything is not ready yet because
Okay.
this is like a new venture.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry I don't have any information to
No
offer.
apology needed. No, no apology needed. However, I want to warn you that with such a powerful why, you may want to have a waiting list, right? Just a way to collect emails, a way to when you spark that inspiration in someone to say, "Ooh, I want to remember my relative this year." That even if you're not ready, they can be on the list so that you can continue to cultivate that connection for when you are ready. Is that fair?
Yes.
Amazing. Okay, very easy to do. You can even use, for example, HubSpot, the free version. I'm not suggesting that that's the best option out there, but it is a free version of a way to create a very simple wait list where you can just say, something about resting in paradise, for instance, right? And how you're going to support people with connecting annually to this type of event, and details coming soon, right?
Okay. Thank you. I never heard of HubSpot. I'll check that out.
Yeah, most definitely. It's all one word, HUBSPOT. Great. I see the next person. Dun, dun, dun. Here we go. Okay. Allie, hello again. Allie says Caldera, and you tell us more about it. Caldera, I believe, yoga therapy's why. To hold space for folks to feel seen and heard and held through things big and small, acute and chronic. Ooh, that part makes me feel like I know more about what you do. Would you be willing to unmute and share about your why? Why are you offering this type of yoga therapy?
Yeah, I think so. I know the impact of feeling not seen or heard or held. I've spent a lot of my life and in a lot of relationships not feeling, fully seen or heard in that way. And I was actually at a yoga conference in Toronto and kind of by accident experienced a yoga therapy talk. And I'd never heard of yoga therapy, I had no idea what it was. And I'd been practicing yoga for 10 years at that point. And by the end of that workshop, I was in tears. It was the most in my body I had ever felt before. And so I immediately went up to the instructor and was like, what is this? What is yoga therapy, and how can I get more of this? And so I had this very visceral and kind of bizarre experience of feeling so seen and held. And like I didn't have to do anything or perform or uh I didn't have to make a spectacle of myself. I was just being how I was. And there was no expectation. And so I just had this very deep kind of heart opening moment of this is what I want to do for people. And I think, you know, we can only lead people out of forests that we ourselves have been lost in. And so, you know, being able to come from a place of deep personal experience and able to, you know, share, you know, skills and tools that I've learned personally and also through my training, and through my certification to then be able to offer that to others. Um, it just like lights up, it lights me up. So, um, yeah, that's why I do what I do.
Excellent. So what I heard your words, and one of the pieces that stood out to me was feeling the most connected to your body that you had ever felt. And certainly there are people who feel like they're going through their day, doing everything for everyone else, and they're not even thinking about themselves or how their body is feeling, right? We started today, or near the beginning of our conversation today, with the body scan to do just that. Take a moment to check in with our bodies. And it sounds like your purpose is to help people feel a deep sense of connection with their body, because you've experienced it, so you know it's possible, and you want to share that with others. Does that
Yeah, yeah, that lands very well.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Of course, again, please put in the chat how people can connect with you in case they're ready to connect with their bodies as well through this modality. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And Cindy, Cindy's why it looks like is because no one can or should tackle life's difficult transitions alone. We all need help and support when going through change. Cindy, would you share with us a little bit about your purpose, your why?
Well, I'm a little camera shy, so I've got my got my picture there.
That works.
Well, let's see, where do I start? Let's see, I have a master's degree in clinical psychology. I've been working with people for many years. I started back in the 90s. What they call a life coach now is a life skills instructor. I used to work in the prison system and help people, excuse me, with reentry. I ran groups helping people get prepared for leaving prison, and my goal with them was to make sure they never came back. Excuse me, I have some allergies here. And then I went on to get my master's degree because I knew there was a lot of gaps in my understanding about people. And I just developed a private practice from there. Probably the most outstanding example that I can think of where people are really alone, and the loneliness epidemic is only part one of, I think, a two-part equation, because people just don't know where to go to get mental health and life, life support. Used to be you could open up the phone book, and I'm dating myself there, and you could just go through the phone book. Now it is more difficult. Google is out of date most of the time. People don't know where to find a therapist. They don't know where to find a counselor. And during COVID, New York State opened up a hotline, which was just a crisis hotline. You could call this hotline, and there were trained counselors that would run these different groups. There was a COVID loss group, a grief group, and then just this general group for people to call in during the lockdown. And I was really surprised at how many people really took advantage of that. How many people called in week after week. And it was just a group to call in and say, hey, I'm really struggling out here alone and I don't know what to do. And the counselors had all kinds of resources and information about where to go to get help. in New York State. And it really was helpful week after week, knowing that we weren't alone. There's so much power in knowing that we are not alone.
You are absolutely right. And I heard this pattern, or I've heard this now 3 times today, right? 3 different business owners have talked about helping to solve the loneliness epidemic, or, you know, creating a service or a product to support. Actually, maybe 4. I think the last 4 in a row have been talking, right? So maybe you all might want to connect outside of here, right? Because all of you bring wisdom. I heard some of you share a bit from your resume, right? What your credentials are, what your work experience is, that piece of what got you to doing what you're doing now. And I imagine that collectively, that if you continue to brainstorm, continue to share your whys together, you can sharpen, right, each other's why, each other's purpose. And I hope that today is serving as a starting point for that, as you listen to what people are sharing about their purpose, what's working for some, what's building and being created for others, that may be sparking ideas for you and your purpose, your why today. I want to leave you, Cindy, please share in the chat if you have a website or something that you would like people to see or follow. Go ahead and share that in the chat. Thank you so much, Cindy. I want to leave us with examples from 3 different companies with their purpose, 3 that I think are pretty recognizable. So the first is Patagonia. Their purpose is environmental activism and sustainability. Their purpose, 4 words: environmental activism and sustainability. The alignment to progress, how their purpose is leading them towards progress, is that Patagonia has successfully aligned its purpose of environmental stewardship with progress by integrating sustainable practices into its business model. They actively promote fair labor practices, they use recycled materials, and they donate a specific portion of their profits to environmental causes. So again, we started with that purpose that they identified, and then they're talking about the how, right? How they're doing that. Let's move into the second example, which is Tom's. Their purpose is a 1-for-1 model, which we know is donating a pair of shoes for every pair sold. That's how they got started. The alignment with progress is that Tom's has built that business around the purpose of making a positive impact on the world. Through their 1-for-1 model, they provided millions of shoes to people in need. And this purpose-driven approach has not only helped those in need, but also has resonated well with consumers. And the third that we'll highlight for today is Salesforce. So Salesforce has a 1-to-1-to-1 model. So they donate 1% of product, 1% of equity, and 1% of employees' time to charitable causes. That's my understanding. That's what I have read. Of course, follow up, check all of this information to make sure that it's completely accurate. But with that, from Salesforce, they've successfully aligned their purpose of social responsibility with progress. And the company dedicates a portion of its resources, including products, equity, and employee time, to support various philanthropic initiatives. This purpose-driven approach has contributed to their positive corporate image and employee engagement. And I personally know someone who I met over a year ago who works for Salesforce and shares with me how they have funding, right, to go and donate their time, to go and give back for the greater good, which in turn makes them feel more connected to their company. So whether your purpose has to do with a level of activism, whether it has to do with donating a product, whether it has to do with engaging through civic, or not just civic engagement, but donating your time, right? Or something else. These are some really good examples of what has helped other companies climb to the position that they're in, to differentiate themselves. How many shoe brands are there out there, right? We don't know all of the shoe brands, but I believe most of us have at least heard of Tom's, right? And part of that is because of that initiative. So I promised that there would be next steps, because I never want somebody to come to a workshop and feel like, you know, I listened, maybe I learned or I shared, but now what, right? So what I'm going to do is put in the chat the way to get in touch with me. The best way is through email. And in doing that, if you reach out to me today, or whenever you have a chance this week, make sure to say that you attended SBDC, this event that we just participated in together today. I will reach back out to you by the end of the week, because like I said, I'm in Washington, DC. So I'm going to share that now. And what I'm going to give you is a couple of things. First is the link to that short video about how to inspire your customers, your community, based on what we discussed today. So I'll go ahead and share that with everyone. And then I offer through my free app, my retreat app, opportunities for you to continue this path of introspection and reflection, which is so important, because we all can get caught up in the day-to-day grind, focusing on what we need to do to post on social media, what we need to do to, do all of the parts of our business plan. Yet it is critical to stay connected to your physical self, like Ali was mentioning, to stay connected to your mental self, right, to your mind, and to continue to build community, which is what we're all about at my retreat, is about increasing your communication skills, as well as connecting you to a larger network. And so with that, I will hand the reins back over to Jaira. I thank you so much for your time, your engagement, your contributions, and I look forward to seeing everyone connecting here at future SBDC events, and hopefully through our free My Retreat app, which by the way, you pair with a small piece of chocolate. Every day we have 3-minute daily meditations, and you reward yourself with chocolate. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Oh, go ahead, Jennifer.
Oh, sorry. Thank you so much, Melissa. That was fantastic. And I wish you could bottle your voice, because it's just better than Valium. And so, as promised, we have Connor from the Monroe County Economic Development to talk about some business loans that some of you may be able to take advantage of. Connor, you should be able to share your screen and take it away.
Perfect. Thanks, Jen. And thanks to SUNY Brockport SBDC and Business Insight Center for letting us kind of crash the event today. I don't know about you guys. I'm feeling very calm and introspective after I'm listening to Melissa's presentation. So thanks everyone for sticking around and pivoting with us here. And I should be joined by my colleague, Mark Wilson. Mark, you here with us?
I am. Yes, I am. Thank you.
All right, perfect.
Hello, everyone.
So Mark and I are from Monroe County Economic Development, and what we do at Monroe County Economic Development, we have a number of programs and incentives to help businesses grow here in the region. So some of those incentives range from equipment rebates, there's some tax incentives, but today we're going to focus on access to capital. So we have some lending programs that we'd like to share with you today, and we find, for smaller audiences, these is a good thing to hit on, because a lot of small businesses have expressed to us that access to capital is a challenge. And so the first program we're going to discuss is our microloan program, which I'll go over, and then I'll switch over to Mark to discuss the SBA 504. So the microloan program was launched a little less than a year ago, actually, and we did this using ARPA dollars, and this was in response to a sentiment throughout the community that these smaller loans were difficult to get and kind of intimidating to get at times too. So there, a lot of times, if you go to a commercial bank, loans between $10,000 and $50,000, which is what our program offers. The bank maybe isn't super willing to do that because it takes the same amount of time as, say, a $250,000 loan. Maybe it's smaller businesses or newer businesses, startups that are looking for this amount of capital, and therefore they aren't equipped to provide the correct documents, or they don't have the right credit history. So we wanted to remedy some of those problems and set businesses up with both the capital they need and the knowledge they need to be successful in the future, because they are going to need those commercial lending partners, and we want to help them be successful there. So who qualifies for a microloan? Really, it is, you can see we do most company types: LLPs, LLCs, sole proprietorships, C Corp, S Corp. Business has to be located in Monroe County. Revenues of $4 million or less, and 25 or less full-time employees. So if you have 2 part-time employees, that counts as 1 full-time employee. Companies have to demonstrate that they were affected by COVID somehow. However, we're pretty lenient with that requirement. So we feel that pretty much every business, even if it's a startup, can demonstrate that they were affected by COVID, whether it's the workforce shortages that we've experienced since then, or if it's inflation, if it's supply chain shortages. We're willing to be flexible there. And the loans are between $10,000 and $50,000. And we give special benefits to MWBE and service disabled veteran-owned businesses that are certified by Monroe County. So I want to go into a little bit more nuts and bolts. The loan process it's a 5-year term. The rate is prime, which is 8.5, although, I'll give a little tease here. In a couple months, we are expected to lower the rates. So there's no early payoff penalty. So if you find that your business is doing better than expected, you're able to pay off early, you want to go for a bigger loan, that's great. There's going to be no fiscal penalty there. You can use the loan. We're going to ask what you're going to use the loan for, but you can use it for either capital expenditures, working capital. We're really not restricting how you use the money at all. Again, as of right now, the interest rate's fixed at prime, which I believe is 8.5 right now. But if you are an MWBE or an service disabled veteran-owned business, you get prime -1. You also, those businesses don't have to pay any fees associated with the loan. So the closing fee or the application fee, those are waived. And next, I'm going to go back real quick. So one thing about applying for the loan is it's an online application. So you just have to, you don't have to go into a physical location. You just apply on your website. We ask for we're going to ask for a lot of things that the commercial bank is actually going to ask for. So tax returns, business plan, financial statements, things of that nature. But if you're not sure what kind of information that we're asking for, how to provide it, or maybe you're a startup and you don't have it all, we really do encourage you to reach out to us, and we'll walk you through the application step by step. We're a small team. There's just 2 underwriters that are actually just sitting right across the hall from me right now. And our goal is to be friendly and helpful, and make you feel comfortable with the process. Because like I said, eventually if all goes well with your business, you're going to need more than $50,000 in the future. And this process mirrors the commercial underwriting process, because we want, when you go for that next loan, we want you to be confident when you walk into your ESL, your M&T, your Chase, etc., and feel like you're set up for success. And I do want to add to, I mentioned MWBEs and SDVOBs. You only have to be certified in Monroe County. So I know the state certification and certainly the federal certification can take a long time. Both of our county level certifications are are they can be done within like a week or two at most times. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but not usually. So if that's something that your business is eligible for and you don't have it yet, you're not going to be waiting up for a long time to get that so that you can get the more advantageous interest rates and fee structures with the micro loan. Additionally, I mentioned sometimes we request things like a business plan, financial statements. That's something that if your business, particularly if you're working with the business, um, we're not equipped to provide that technical assistance to help them with the business plan, but we have great partners at Senior Brockport SBDC, as well as SCORE, Passstone, some other places where we certainly refer folks out to so that they can get help with those things and come back to us ready to rock and roll. So that is kind of the gist of the microloan. Happy to answer any questions about that. We'll probably wait till the end, Mark. But I'm going to shift over to Mark. He's going to talk about another one of our programs. It's done in conjunction with the SBA 504.
All right, excuse me. Thanks, Connor. I appreciate that. As Connor mentioned, we are a conduit for the SBA. Our package, our program here as the conduit is the 504. I know it says 504, but the structure and the program is 50, 40, 10. This program provides long-term fixed financing for any fixed assets, purchasing of land. If you're going to buy big equipment, we could take a look at that. The loans run from $100,000 to $5 million. So, and what that looks like is if you're working with a commercial bank, a lot of times the bank would like to mitigate a lot of their risk as far as loaning to companies. So they'll guarantee, excuse me, they'll guarantee 50% of the project. Well, we would also guarantee 40% of the project through the SBA here at the Monroe County Industrial Development Corporation. And then you will have, as a business owner, will have to come in with a 10% equity injection. So the debentures are rolled up into one. So once you are gone through the whole process, any fees associated with the process will be rolled up into your complete total principal loan amount. So pretty much, and then the caveat to this is because most banks like this program because again, they don't have to take a lot of the risk, and it's more advantageous for a lot of business owners to go through the SBA for this type of financing because it's SBA rates are typically they're fixed and they're typically lower than normal commercial bank rates. So I will always encourage a company if they look at to purchase. We've dealt with people that bought, tow trucks. We dealt with people that did buy forklifts. Hopefully, we really don't work with rolling stock, but we could take a look at that as well. We hope we don't see a forklift running down 490, so we're not going to look for that. So again, it's a 50% finance guaranteed by the bank, your commercial lender. And if you're not sure if your bank works with the 504, offer the 504 program, feel free to ask any of your bank managers or any loan officer at your commercial bank. And again, we will guarantee the 40% of the loan, and then you will have to come in with your 10% equity injection. Next slide. So this is just a sample how it looks. If you look at the use of the proceeds, land purchase is 100,000, building construction would be 400. Any other cost, it brought totals up to 500. So the bank portion will be the first mortgage, which would be 250,000. But SBA as through us, Monroe County, we will guarantee the 40%, 200,000, and then you will come in with their 50. And the fees associated right here will pretty much total up to 207,000. we round up, it'll be 208. So once you leave that, once you're accepted and you are, are approved, you'll pretty much your bank, your payments will be always the same every month with us, and you won't have to pay for anything else as far as like any fees associated. The good thing also about this, if you are purchasing a building or you're purchasing land and you want to build it up, ground up, we do have a mortgage recording tax that we have through the county that is associated with any big purchases of any land and buildings. Is a mortgage recording tax. We can exempt that to up the whole 1%, which is significant in savings. So a lot of times, like I reiterate, we really kind of instruct a lot of the companies to really, or kind of advise them to take a look at the 504 program, because it is a little more advantageous. It is probably the next step up after the microloan, and it will allow you to, buy that big piece of land or that big building, that commercial space, and get your business growing. So, like I said, if there's any other questions, feel free to ask, and I'm happy to help.
What's the best way to contact you guys? Oh,
So,
there you go.
Here we go,
Yep.
right here.
I spoke too soon.
Yeah, so we've got the contact information listed here. Sorry, I was trying to unmute myself. Our phone number's right here. Feel free. Mark and I are very accessible. Give us a call anytime, and if we don't answer, leave us a voicemail. We'll be sure to get right back to you. Try to make it as painless and unintimidating as a process as possible. Up here, we've listed our the website to go directly to the microloan. We have our general line as well as our general email, and I will add my email to the chat here in case anybody wants to email me directly. But yeah, I did say I do want to mention, if anybody is purchasing any equipment, we have rebates and interest subsidies. We also have those tax incentives. If you're ever doing a large capital project, you can certainly stack that with the 504 loan. And we have great relationships with other economic development agencies in town. So, whether you're doing hiring, we work with Rochester Works. If it is site selection, perhaps we work with GRE, City of Rochester, Empire State Development. So, Mark and I kind of have this saying, before you spend any money, just give us a phone call and we'll see if we can, if there's anything that we can do to assist.
Did you, just quick question, Connor, for the microloans, did you say that it is possible, if you're a startup to work with a microloan?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Awesome. Cool. Thank you.
We might require like personal financial statements and stuff like that. You'll, have to have a pretty strong business plan, but yeah, that would not make you ineligible by any means. We'd certainly encourage you to apply.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions? Don't be shy, guys.
Yeah, last call for questions. Going once. Going twice. And called. All right, thanks so much, guys, for joining us and for that really valuable information. Oh, Amy, no, this is just for Monroe County, but perhaps Connor or Mark know if there's something comparable for Wayne County.
Yes, Wayne County does have a microloan program. I think it's a little bit smaller amounts. I've searched for a couple people recently. If you just type in Wayne County Economic Development into your like Google search bar, they've got their own page and a list of programs, contact information. They have an economic development specialist there, just like Mark and I. I'd encourage you to reach out to them.
Okay. All right. Thanks again, everybody. And please join us next month for, let me find the topic quick. Sorry. It is going to be on, nope, that's not it. I can't find it. Sorry. Oh, no, here it is. It is on. Nope, that's not it. Sorry, can't find it. We will include it with the email that you're going to get with the link to the YouTube and the slides from today. So, all right. With that, hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you. Have a good day, everyone.